probably see yourself as a normal, responsible person who follows the rules and tries to do the right thing most of the time, and that is exactly why this video might mess with your head a little, because psychology shows that most people break rules not because they are reckless, but because their brain automatically normalizes everyday behavior, especially when it feels harmless, familiar, or socially accepted. And once something feels normal, your brain stops flagging it as risky or wrong, which is how small, illegal actions quietly slip into daily life without triggering guilt or awareness. Here is the uncomfortable truth: your brain is wired to prioritize convenience and social proof over legality, and research shows that when an action feels common or low effort, your mind labels it as safe, even if the law says otherwise. And that gap between perception and reality is where most accidental rule-breaking lives. Take something as simple as connecting to Wi-Fi. Your brain sees an open network or an auto-connect option and instantly categorizes it as available, not restricted. Psychologists call this cognitive ease. When something feels easy, your brain assumes it is allowed, and that same mechanism explains why people download content without thinking twice, because the act feels casual, familiar, and victimless. But the law does not care about how casual it feels. Your brain just learned to disconnect effort from consequence. Then there is recording people or reposting content without permission, which often happens because of social normalization. When everyone around you is sharing, reposting, and saving clips, your brain assumes it is acceptable behavior. Social proof rewires your moral filter, and suddenly ownership and consent feel abstract, even though legally they are very real. This is why people are genuinely shocked when they face consequences for something that felt socially invisible. Selling something you do not own yet, or using cracked software, triggers another psychological pattern called outcome bias. Your brain focuses on the intention, not the rule. You plan to buy it later. You just want to get work done. So your mind justifies the shortcut because it assumes a positive outcome. But laws judge actions, not intentions, and that mismatch is where trouble begins. Small traffic violations, password sharing, or using random images online all fall into what psychologists call rule fading. When rules exist but are rarely enforced, your brain gradually stops treating them as rules at all until suddenly enforcement happens, and it feels unfair, even though the rule never changed. Even reading someone else's messages or collecting data without consent is often driven by curiosity bias. Your brain values information and closure more than abstract privacy boundaries, especially when emotional closeness is involved, and that does not make you malicious, it makes you human. The point is not that you are careless or unethical. The point is that your brain is incredibly good at making questionable behavior feel normal, safe, and justified, especially in a digital world filled with invisible rules and overlapping laws. Awareness is what closes that gap, because once your brain sees the pattern, it cannot unsee it. If this video made you pause and think differently about everyday habits, then you already did the smartest thing possible, which is noticing. And psychology says awareness is the first step to better decisions. So stay curious, stay conscious, and if you want more content that breaks down human behavior in a way that actually makes sense, subscribe to the channel and keep your mind sharp.